Welcome back into Sports Sunday, 347 on your Sunday afternoon, sitting high above 17th Street in Costa Mesa, California. Joining us now, Los Angeles Times sports columnist, all around Southern California sports expert Arash Markazi hopping on. Arash, thank you for making time on your Sunday afternoon before the next viewing of The Last Dance to talk to us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
The Last Dance, talking about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. On Friday in the LA Times, you wrote a column explaining how the Last Dance documentary was originally slated to be released in June, shown between NBA Finals games, and then when COVID-19 shut everything down, they decided to figure out how to move it up, how to finish it, and how to get it out, with the first episode airing 2 weeks ago. For our listeners that didn't read that article, can you kind of explain to us what that story was and how the Last Dance documentary came to be, when it came to be?
Well, yeah, the interesting thing is, I mean, they've been promoting this for quite some time, and I think the mistake people made was they thought because it was being promoted that it was done.
Listen, I don't think it's a big deal. If Lou Williams left the bubble, okay, let's just say I'm an NBA player. I'm in the bubble. My grandpa dies. My grandpa lived up in Oregon. I fly to Portland. I go to the memorial service. I have dinner. I get on a plane. I go back home. Is that bad? Just tell me if that's bad.
No.
I mean, is it bad to go to dinner?
No, but...
Is it a crime to go to dinner? I relate to Lou Will. He even tweeted, he said, ask any of my teammates what my favorite restaurant is. He's been on record as saying, my favorite restaurant is Magic City. Yes, it happens to be a strip club. But what's the difference between going and picking up food at Magic City Strip Club or going to Outback Steakhouse? What's the difference? And then Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, came back with this message.
It has been a difficult time for our country, in particular, Black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of Black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest.
That's all play of that. It's pretty boring. You get the message. The message is positive, but I'll be honest, it looks as if Roger Goodell is reading from a teleprompter. Yeah. He's pausing awkwardly between takes. It was, to me, that was a very performative statement without a lot of teeth in it.
I think my response to that was things I didn't expect to see for $400.
I did not expect to see that per se. But also, it was still, for my taste, it was toothless in the sense that
hollow.
We, the National Football League, admit we were not wrong, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the NFL, believe Black Lives Matter. That is a really PG, cleaned up, PC way of saying we were wrong about Colin Kaepernick. The problem for me is they didn't say we were wrong about Colin Kaepernick.
And if I remember correctly, there was an initial apology that did not include racism at all.
It didn't say anything about black people. It didn't say anything about racism.
This is the response to that, which is kind of half-hearted.
So they went from the G-rated, the clean version. Mm-hmm. They went from like the instrumental version to the clean version. It's like
ABC Family to Disney Channel at
It's like, give me HBO and keep it real with me, Roger Goodell, because I think until Roger Goodell and the NFL straight up admit they were wrong about Colin Kaepernick, and I actually don't think they will, then no one's going to be happy player-wise in the NFL. And the problem, I think, too, is that Roger Goodell, he doesn't really have control of his owners. If there was a Colin Kaepernick in the NBA, if there was some kind of equivalent, which it wouldn't happen that way because the NBA just operates on a different level and a different level of, it's definitely the more liberal league and it's definitely more open to player expression. If there were an equivalent of Colin Kaepernick in the NBA and he hadn't been signed and all of this was happening right now with Black Lives Matter and protests, I think Adam Silver could call up Steve Ballmer or could call up, the owner of any team and say, I need you guys to figure out a way, or call up the owner and say, I need you guys to figure out a way to sign Colin Kaepernick. Right. And they would do it. If Roger Goodell called up Jerry Jones, or if Roger Goodell called up
Jerry Jones,
Mark Davis, and said, I need you to sign Colin Kaepernick, it doesn't happen. They laugh in his face.
Right.
Roger Goodell doesn't have control over his owners, And I don't think you're going to get the owners to admit that they were wrong in the Colin Kaepernick deal. We're having Will O'Neill on, Newport Beach Mayor, talking about the beaches, talking about Newport Beach. It's feeling like summer. It's the summertime. Will, thanks for making some time on your Sunday. I know you're on with the Poor Man Monday through Friday here on KOCI. You're on Tucker Carlson on Fox News a couple weeks ago. So we're glad that you could get Sports Sunday on your media circuit. When the discussion was had about whether to keep the beaches open or shut them down, and you guys had that, I think it was like an emergency Tuesday meeting, was there ever a discussion about limiting beach access to Newport Beach residents, or is that something that's not even possible, that would be too difficult to enforce, or does the California Coastal Commission just say, no, that can't happen?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we didn't have that discussion at the city council level because it's not physically possible to do it. Because, I mean, all you have to do is think through the logistics of that. Like setting up a barrier along the peninsula to only residents, you've got 11,000 people who live on the peninsula.
Yeah.
So the idea of actually setting up barriers and then trying to check people through, there are a lot of people who, like, for example, Alex, like, I know you were away from Newport, now you're back. I mean, what does your driver's license say? Is it a Newport address?
Well, actually, it still says Portland, Oregon from 2 years ago.
So let's say you lived on the peninsula. Like, how would I know that you actually live on the peninsula to get you through?
It's like Israel-Palestine, basically. We're talking about a full peninsula police state down there.
We'll talk more. We're going to go a different direction with this. But that's the thing. Like, the logistics of this are incredibly difficult.
Someone said to me, gosh, I would hate to be a politician right now. I'd hate to be in a position of power right now, having to make decisions at this time. If you're given imperfect information, you'll make imperfect decisions. And that's all the information out there right now is very imperfect. But that being said, this is a time you should want, if you are a politician, if you are someone who has sought a life of public service, and if that's what you want, if you want to be president, if you want to be mayor, if you want to be the CEO, if you want to be the principal, I'm not saying you should want this moment to happen, but you should be ready. You should be ready to rise to the occasion. You should be ready to step up your level of leadership to match that, what is needed for society, for your company, for your city, for your school, whatever.
Do some of our elected officials lack the clutch gene?